Hi, Paige Thompson, Rusty Cow, Basgrow Technical Agronomist for Northwest Iowa. I'm out here in a cornfield to talk to you today about tillers. I often get the question every year as far as are tillers normal and what can the outcome be if I do have a hybrid or plants that are tillering. So one of the first things that comes to my mind when it comes to tillering is that the growing conditions are quite favorable, such as ample amounts of sunlight, nutrients, and moisture. So that's one thing that can definitely happen as far as the ample amount of energy can invest in extra tillers. Also, when it comes to tillering, it can happen if there is trauma to the main stalk, which injured from hail, insects, wind, tractor tires, and also deer hooves. So this is done early on in the season that can activate these tillers being formed. Also, certain hybrids are more prone to tillering, and one that comes to my mind is DKC 5771, 107-day Smart Stacks, and also it's Smart Stacks Pro 10733. Sometimes later on in the season, it feels like you're walking through quite a jungle out there because you can find extra tillering going on. Tillers basically are branches that develop from buds on the lower 5 to 7 nodes of the corn plant. And they are genetically identical to the rest of the plant, to the main stem, and they can develop their own roots, nodes, leaves, tassels, and ears if there's sufficient time in that growing season. But they are perceived as less desirable in the corn, but research has shown that is not the case, and that overall effect of tillers on corn is usually neutral. The neutral outcome is basically because research has shown that there is very little movement of the photosynthate between the main stem and the tillers before tasseling. However, the silking side of things, and during grain fill, the plant sugars may move from the earless tillers to the ears on the main stem. So when there are ears on both the tiller and the main stem, very little movement of plant sugars actually occurs. The main stem and tillers act independently and each receive sugars from its own leaves. So that is just a little bit about tillering, and it is interesting definitely when you see it out in the field. Thank you. This plant didn't have a neighbor to one of its sides, so there's a possibility that's why it tillered. This one, I do know there's a lot of deer in this field. You can see 3 tillers there and a smaller plant. And this one did have some insect feeding, which affected that main stem, which most likely triggered these 3 tillers. Thank you, and be safe.